Have you ever wondered what it's like inside a hockey locker room when you have a owner and head coach like yours relentless? Well, this morning, I'm going to do something completely unique, something I've never shared in public before. I'm going to take you behind the scenes. I'm going to pull back the curtain for the first time ever, and I'm going to reveal to you exactly what that first locker room meeting is like every year for my championship Perth Blue Wing teams. These are 16 to 21-year-old blue chip athletes. But what is really said in that first set the tone meeting? What are my meetings really like when I was in the insurance business? What were my meetings really like with my barbershop team? What are my meetings really like with this consulting company? This morning, I'm going to take you behind the scenes at the exact first meeting. I call it the tone-setting locker room meeting. What I say, what I don't say, and exactly the tone I want to set with any business, with any team, with any charity, and with any mission we decide to go on. I'm Michael McLean. You can sign up for these daily email videos, michaelmclean.coach. There's nothing to buy. It's just these ugly, broken iPhone videos every single day in your email box at 6 a.m. Admittedly, I am not everybody's cup of whiskey, but if you're interested in winning, wealth, losing, marriage, raising kids, peak performance, mental toughness, marketing, this might be the place for you every 6 a.m. in your email, michaelmclean.coach. So my business partner, Mark Andre, he'll get a kick out of this video because he would be the only person besides my athletes and my employees that have any idea what it's like to attend one of those training camp first meetings in our locker room. What it's like to be inside that locker room or inside the meeting room at my barber shop, at my insurance company, even the Rotary Club fundraising meetings that I used to run. People have no idea what's said, what's not said, and what the tone is all about. So that's a story from my personal and professional life that I want to share with you today. And I think it's more important than ever because now in 2024, and you have to agree with this, we are living in a world of laziness, entitlement, and selfishness like never, ever before. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the younger generation, it's my generation as parents, athletes, students, it's everywhere. Sloth and laziness, entitlement, what's in it for me, and complete and utter selfishness. I've seen it transform over the last 22 years of coaching hockey and coaching power skating and coaching tennis. The athletes that I work with now are incredibly different than the athletes I worked with 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. The employees that I've had over the last 10 years, very different than the employees I had 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And the same with people, whether you're fundraising, no matter what, if you're building teams of any sort, whether it's your family, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your children, whether it's your volunteer coaching athletics, no matter what teams you're putting together, I believe that this is the absolute non-negotiable message that you as the leader, if you're put in charge of leading, like the late great General Norman Schwarzkopf said, then fucking well lead. So I used to call our guys together. We would have our training camp for my Perth Blue Wings championship team. We'd always have training camp on the Friday of Labor Day weekend, the long weekend. So I would have 55 to 60 athletes, 16 to 21 from all over the area. They would report on Friday night of Labor Day weekend for our first training camp meeting. And I would have this meeting. It wouldn't be in the locker room. I'd have it in the hotel ballroom. This magnificent glass building, everything done to perfection. There would be Relentless t-shirts on the chairs, lots of natural sunlight, bottles of water, big screen for my PowerPoint, basically a championship environment. And I left nothing to chance. This was the tone, the environment that I wanted to set. There wasn't a piece of litter, there wasn't a dirty window, everything was pristine. It would be the same as, the way Saban would have his locker room at Alabama, or Kirby Smart would have his at Georgia, or a Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, or a Bobby Knight. It just perfection, right? Not just perfection, but excellence. So when a new athlete or a returning athlete would walk into that grand ballroom, here's the massive chandelier. Everything is badass. You've got the water, you've got the t-shirts, you've got, boom, the impact you're looking for. So Marc-Andre was a part of at least 2 or 3 of those. And that's the tone. People used to say, well, Michael, how do you set records for wins? How do you finally win a Barclay championship? How do you do it all? And they think about the playoffs. And I'm like, winning and losing is set on day one, way back in September on Labor Day. If I don't set the right tone as the head coach and owner, then we have no chance to win. And I know I learned that from my mentor, the great late Wayne Maxner. I learned that from working with guys like Dan Hurley. I learned that from my mentor, Dan Kennedy. I learned that from my mom. I learned that from my dad. Any of these people that are top high performance people, they all taught me that the tone that you set matters. The tone that you set matters. And you can never undo a first impression. Some people say, well, first impression's important. It's not important, it's critical. If you can't set the right tone with your employees, with your athletes, with your children, the day you meet your wife for the first time, there's no coming back from that. We get one chance to set a first impression. And that's why my lobby at the insurance agency was a certain way. That's why our locker room was a certain way. That's why my sales office was a certain way. My office was designed a certain way. That's the way my home is designed. And onward, you can never make another first impression. So it's interesting. These are kids that are 16 to 21. They're used to sitting there on their phone and, letting the coach talk for a while, and they check you out and stuff like that. The first thing I did with my teams is I took away the gadgets. So there were never any cell phones, no smart devices, no, iPads and earbuds, none of that stuff I've ever allowed from my employees, from my athletes, from my players. So right off the bat, I'm making a statement that I demand your 100% attention. I'm not interested in you sitting there and chatting with your girlfriend. I'm not interested in answering phone calls from your kids that just got home from school, wondering where the TV remote is. You're all in all the way. Same with my athletes, players and athletes. So they'd walk into the ballroom, and the first thing that I would talk about is because I'm battling what? I'm battling selfishness. I'm battling entitlement, right? Those are the two big differences in the last 5 to 10 years as a coach. So I'm going to be attacking those things for the next 9 months that we're together as a team. If I don't talk about teamwork, if I don't talk about, unselfishness, if I don't talk about history, then there's no chance for us to win, because great teams will eventually win. Even in the NFL, even in the NHL, it's all about teamwork, and it still is. It's just the hardest sell in history. So the kids would go in the ballroom, and I would be like, okay, right off the bat, I would start talking about the history of the franchise. So when I owned the Perth Blue Wings, we were in our 90th plus years. I own the team from 87th year all the way up to like 95, 94. And other coaches and owners are never going to talk about that, right? So I talk about, we're the New York Yankees of junior hockey. We're the Montreal Canadiens. We're the Dallas Cowboys. We're the, we're the All Blacks rugby team, so to speak. And we talk about this because I want to put some reference in their mind. I want them to think about, okay, this is special. This is somewhere beyond me. This isn't just about me coming here and making the team and me getting my ice time and me getting my scholarship. I'm like, from the word go, I'm like preaching every time we meet that it is a fucking honor to wear the blue and white jersey. And you can confirm with a guy like Marc-Andre, who was there for 3 years as a player, as a captain, as an assistant coach. Everybody inside that locker room knows Blue Wings history. Just like McLean Insurance, everybody knew that this was our 42nd year in business. Everybody knew my dad's story from the ground up. Like, I teach and preach legacy. I teach about the founder. Do you think that they talk about Walt Disney anymore at Disney? No, it's been lost. You think they talk about, Jeff Bezos, and no, it's lost. So this is the kind of thing that's important in your organization. If there's history, preach it and teach it till people are sick and tired of it. I just kept pounding away that it is an honor to wear this jersey. You're part of an organization that's in their 93rd year or their 94th year. And then these are things that no coach even talks about. But I'm also the owner, right? So I have massive impact. Before games, I would get the guys together in the locker room and I would only talk for maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, 3 points, and I'm done. But do you know how many times I went off script and instead of talking about the power play, instead of talking about the penalty killing, instead of talking about strategy, I would just say, screw it. And I'd say, listen, do you know what we're doing tonight? And these are young teenagers, they look up. I make sure guys have to sit a certain way. They have to have eye contact with me at all times. They have to be listening to understand. There's no cell phones, there's no slouching, there's no bad body language. And they would look up and I'd immediately start talking about the charity, the community organization that we were going to be supporting that night. There wasn't a game in the 8 years that I owned that franchise in a small community of 30,000 people that we didn't have a charitable component. One Friday night game would be Pink in the Rink women's breast cancer. Another Friday night would be Big Brothers. Another Friday night would be Big Sisters. Another night might be, the Salvation Army Christmas drive. I never had a game in 8 years as owner and coach where we weren't using part of it to donate, raise funds, and support something local grassroots. Whether it was the library, children's literacy, the food bank, youth services, you name it. So sometimes I'd just go off script and I'd say, this is what the guys need to hear. I'm like, do you realize what you're a part of tonight? Do you realize, and I used to say this to them all the time because once again, they're just kids, they don't know. I'd say, not only is this our 93rd year in this community, not only are we the Boston Red Sox of this league, not only is his championships expected, but here's the other thing. Tonight we're going to be raising funds for a family that lost their home. They didn't have any insurance. They lost their home to fire. They're almost homeless. And we're going to raise thousands of dollars. But I'd also talk to the players quite often and go off script and say, do you realize, how many people will pay to watch you play tonight? You have to understand, these are blue chip athletes who are coming out of minor hockey. Their parents are affluent. They've been given everything in life. They've never been told no. And they've never played in front of paying spectators. In minor hockey, the people there, it's the aunts, the uncles, grandma, grandpa, and mom and dad. So I pounded it into all of our athletes all the time that people use and invest their hard-earned money to watch you play. So it is not your right. It is your fucking obligation to championship effort, championship execution, championship mental toughness, championship everything. This isn't minor hockey where your mom and dad dropped you off. And I'm like, do you know that most people in our community, they work in a factory. They work in that soap factory across the street, or they work in the 3M plant, or they work in the Jergens, wherever. And those people are making 15 bucks an hour, 20 bucks an hour, and they get maybe one night out as a family a week. One in our small blue collar community, they get maybe one night out. And you know what they do? They pool their money together. They don't have any discretionary extra income. I mean, how would you? And they save up their money and they pay the $10 and $12 to come through the door. If they're lucky, you know, there's a little bit of money left over for a Pepsi or a Coke or a hot dog or a thing of popcorn. But they've picked you and this sport and this team, okay, as their family entertainment. They didn't pick the movies. They didn't pick going to the carnival. They picked you. And most of them pick it every Friday night. So I said, you know, these 600 people or these 1,000 people that you're playing for, you know, they paid every cent they have to come and watch you for the next 3 hours. And you could just see the body language change. You could see the eyes light up, because what am I selling? I'm selling to these young athletes once again that it's more than just about them. And I'm also promoting the reason why. If you just want to show up and play and you just want to get your ice time and you want to get your points, then go fucking play somewhere else. But here, okay, it's going to matter. Your level of performance is going to matter. There's going to be accountability. You're going to be held accountable. And I'm telling you right now, going off script and reminding these people, our athletes, how blessed we totally are and how fortunate we are. I mean, we usually had some of our better performances. So tactics and strategies aside, sometimes our best results was just me, the owner, and the coach speaking from the heart. And none of it was bullshit, because I'm like, I believe this. I don't take $1 to coach this team. I've never taken a penny out of this team. I just want to build incredible human beings. Do you know I never talked about winning the Barclay Cup after training camp? I'd say our eventual goal is to win a Barclay Cup. After that, it was all about the daily process. That's it. I was like Saban. I didn't even talk. We didn't have a picture of the cup. We didn't have pictures of rings. We didn't have any of that stuff. It went back to what my dad said. It's like we buried the man or the player we were yesterday, and we're not going to visit the grave. So every game was about 75 shifts. Every game was about 3 hours. Every game was about handling what you can handle. In other words, the crowd doesn't matter. Where on the road doesn't matter. At home doesn't matter. The score doesn't matter. The other team doesn't matter. The only thing that we can control is the man in the mirror. So for 8 months, we would control the man in the mirror. We would work on running our own race and our own personal development every day. And that works so well with young athletes, because they're so into the, social media and all that rat poison. It's about me, me, me. And I would teach the exact opposite. It's not about you. It's about burying the person that you were the day before and never visiting the grave again. Getting better as a person, getting better as a college student, getting better as a high school student, getting better as a brother, getting fitter, getting stronger, getting better. And one of my favorite speeches that I give in training camp back to the first day is we always had big time 20-year-olds returning. 20-year-old is your graduate. Those are your top dogs. Those are your guys that have been part of the program for 2 to 4 years. They're your big guys, right? They're your fourth-year football guys. Those are your impact players, your captains. But I never let them skate. I never let them have the easy way out. So most of these kids, and remember, they're 20 years old. They don't know any different. But most of those 20-year-olds, they arrive for training camp. And what have they done? They've exhaled over the summer. They're like, I'm 20 now. I can take it easy. I don't have to worry about coach anymore. And that's just human nature. I mean, it's just natural to exhale, right? And to take it easy and to cut corners. Well, we ain't going to win jack shit unless my best players are my best players. So right off the bat in that first meeting, and you got impressionable 16 and 17-year-olds, but it was my number one goal to set those guys on fire in front of everybody. They walk in, they're too cool for school. I'm the captain, I'm the 20-year-old, all this. And what is that? That's entitlement, and that's laziness, and that's selfishness. So even after 3 or 4 years playing for me, that's natural. So what do? I throw the dynamite bomb in front of everybody. And once again, it sets the tone. I did the same in the insurance business. I did the same in the barbershop business. I do the same. Whenever I see somebody exhale, I just blow them up. I just blow them up, especially if they're a really, really, really strong person. And it's just a wake-up call, and champions appreciate it. So I used to say to the guys, I'd say, who's 20 years old in here? And all the alphas would put up their hands, the 20-year-old stars, and they got their chest puffed out, and this is my year, I'm gonna get a Scully and all this stuff, and coach knows how great I am. And I'd say, you know what my goal is this year? And once again, I've got their attention, right? I'm asking a question. What do you think my goal is as head coach? And you got, 11 guys, 9 guys with their hands up. They're pretty cocky and confident. First day of camp, I'm going to show what I can do. And I said, you see those gold nameplates in the lockers? And we have this NHL locker room with everybody has their own stall. Everyone has their own locker, oak lockers, and you have your name bar. So Michael McLean, number 13, or Gordon Quinton, number 11, if that's a player's name. So pretty fancy, right? Pretty professional. I said, my goal as coach, if I ever think for a second that you're exhaling, that you're taking it for granted here, that you think this is about you or you're putting the team ahead. If I ever get a sense that you're exhaling, my goal is to take that name down. You will be fucking gone. I said, I'll trade you, I'll move you. I've done it for years, but if I see you take it easy, if I see you cut a corner, if I see you mistreat a young player, if I see you at anything, if I even get a sniff that you're not growing as a person, as a player, I'm going to take that nameplate down. I'm going to snap it in two, I'm going to put it in the garbage, and I'm going to bring somebody in here, another 20-year-old, who's going to help us win. And you should see the look. I never failed every year. You should see the look on those cocky 20-year-olds who thought they're going to come in, they're going to fly in, they're going to be the big studs, they're going to be the big cleaners. And I'm like, I only have one goal. I'm watching you all the time. And if I see you exhale as a leader, if I see you take the easy way, I'm going to take that nameplate down and I'm going to cut your ass or I'm going to trade your ass. And guys are like, whoa, he did that the year before. He did that the year before. He did that the year before. All of a sudden, you just see everybody in the room becomes 2 inches taller. Do you think that message is well received by a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old? Damn straight it is. Damn straight it is. My goal is to break you. That was what I'd say. I'd say, listen, my goal is to break you. It doesn't matter if it's a month from now, 6 months from now, in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be chipping away at you. I'm going to be building you up. I'm going to be breaking you down. I'm going to be building you up. I'm going to be breaking you down. But my job is to break you veterans, to break you so-called leaders. And I'm going to try and break you so that when we get to the playoffs, I know what I got. To make sure I don't have a pretender. To make sure I don't have somebody who's long on style, short on substance. I'm going to put you under so much pressure. I'm going to make you work so hard. I'm going to demand, never demean, I'm going to demand so much that the games become easy. In fact, if you survive this season, anybody in this room, if you survive as a coach, as a trainer, as a player, doesn't matter. If you survive here, the rest of your life becomes so much easier. You ask Marc-Andre about being a Perth Blue Wing and he'll say the same thing because he's a guy who can work. He's a guy that's super intelligent, but he said after being a Blue Wing everything else becomes simple. That's the same way it was at McLean Insurance. I didn't take it easy on my employees there. I used to have meetings and it'd be the same thing. If I see somebody exhale, if I see somebody cut a corner, if I see somebody not care, if I smell entitlement, if I smell laziness or sloth, or I even get a whiff of selfishness, that's a big one for me. Bad body language or rolling of the eyes, you're fucking gone. You're gone. Because this is about the team, it's not about you. And it's certainly not about me. My job is to fill this locker room or this office with winners. And winners are championship workers, they're championship teammates, they are unselfish, and I gotta try and break those things during the year. So leadership goes a long way now. And this is why love doesn't work. If love worked, we wouldn't live in such a screwed up world. Okay? If religion worked, we wouldn't live in such a screwed up world. You know what works in the real world? Whether it's business, whether it's family, whether it's sports, you know what works in the real world? Tough love. Not love, tough love. That's what works in the real world. You can disagree all you want, but that's because you never won anything. If you're a Michael Jordan or if you're a Kobe Bryant, you look at those people and you're like, oh, they're so hard, difficult. They're so difficult. Tom Brady, it was hard to be his teammate. Well, if you look at it like that, you know, or you see these situations as demeaning instead of demanding, it just shows that you've never won anything. And that's what Jordan said in his documentary. He said, you know, he's a ball buster, right? He would bust Dennis Rodman's balls, all those guys. He's like, I need you to win. I need to break you. I'm going to break you. My job is to break you. Well, I was the same. And if you don't understand that, you've never been part of a championship. You've never won anything. Because that's how champions think. That's how badass kings think, is just constantly pushing to get better and better in every area of your life. So that's my job, is to break you story from the locker room. I hope you enjoyed that. If you didn't, you don't really belong around here anyway. I have no idea how you would have got here if you don't love sports and sports stories. But that's a reminder of what winning really takes. Not love, no, tough love. And bury the man you were today or the man you were yesterday and never visit the grave, like my dad said. So I got something special this month with my MJM World Building print newsletter. If you're not a subscriber, get some new parts for your head. It's $97 a month for a 22-page newsletter that I ship to your doorstep. So in other words, I ain't making much money on this. This is part of my passion. I write that newsletter with my heart and soul. It's 20 pages. I usually want to keep it to 12. I've never had it less than 20. And then I ship it to your doorstep, which costs tons of money. And it's $97. That's less than a cup of coffee a day. I was at Dunkin' Donuts this morning and a coffee was $3.60. Well, this newsletter is only $3.45 a day. Okay, plus I'll send you one of these black Be Relentless t-shirts. They're worth $70 already. So the link is below. And the March issue you're going to especially love because it's one of my favorite topics. It's brass balls time management. Dan Kennedy taught me the importance of time. Being in pro sports taught me the management. He said, Michael, he said, if you can't manage your time with brass balls, he says you won't have any money to manage. I never forgot Dan saying that to me. So from that time on, I took time management seriously. I've never met a person who's more productive than I am. I've never met a person that I would trade lifestyles with. I've never met a person that I'd want to switch jobs or life with. So I think, you know, my brass balls time management has got teeth. I think that I've cut my teeth with some of the best leaders and cleaners and closers there are. And I'm going to be sharing that one topic in the March edition. And if you miss out on this, man, you must be some either super productive person, a top 1%er, or you're just a dumb bunny. But either way, $97, that's like, I am running a nonprofit. When it comes to the newsletter, I am running a nonprofit. $97, you can sign up below. You'll get the 20-page plus brass balls time management edition. and I'll send one of these black badass t-shirts as well. So that's my offer this month for the MJM letter. And by the way, what will the newsletter do? It's going to teach you how to save 40 hours a month, at least, what I do, and while doubling your income. So 10 hours a week, you're gonna slash, but here's the thing, you're gonna make more money. And here's the thing that the pretend experts don't talk about. Productivity, brass balls productivity isn't about saving. It's about, and it's not about saying yes, it's about saying no to almost everything. And if you do save 10 or 12 hours a week or 40 hours a month, it's not about freeing up time to work more. It's about freeing up time to golf more, to play more tennis, to date your wife more, to go to the gym more, to walk more, to sleep more, to do whatever the hell you want to do. Go fishing, paint, I don't care. But that's what real brass balls time management is about. It's not about oh, I saved 40 hours this month so I could work more on the important. Screw that. I'm going to show you how to make more money by working less and free up time to do more of what you want. Maybe a hobby, maybe go to the gym more, maybe go on a vacation, whatever it is. The link is below. I'll show you how to do that this month in the Michael McLean World Building Newsletter. That's it for today. Remember, if you exhale and you're playing for a guy like me, or you take the easy way out and you're working for a guy like me, or if you're really interested in building a championship lifestyle, it can't be done any other way than with tough love, with absolute tough love. Try and break your systems, try and break yourself personally, push yourself to the brink. And it's the secret to happiness. It's the secret to peace of mind. You are born for this. You are created for this. Difficulty and toughness, you're made for this. You are made for adversity. You are made to be pushed. You are made to be a worker. So follow your natural instincts and try and break yourself and push yourself to championship levels. That's it. 2 words that changed my life. 2 words that'll change yours. Be relentless.